of a stranger, quiet observer, never get too close. I see the world, but it's through this window. Another side to see, I'm ready to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. He's from the city, she's from the south. Two different chapters told miles out. That back row living in his White House. So many stories that I need to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. So many stories right in front of me. Some people climb to heights I've never seen. Too many falling down off their feet. These stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. Why you're the way you are. Why you're the way you are. Tiptoe around with face of a stranger, quiet observer, never get too close. I see the world, but it's through this window. Another side to see, I'm ready to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. He's from the city, she's from the south. Two different chapters told miles out. That back row living in his White House. So many stories that I need to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you Some people climb to heights I've never seen. Too many falling down off their feet. These stories take digging deep.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silver Sunday. As you're going to watch us experience all the trials and tribulations of shifting to a Discord server. Lots of reasons behind that, but the only thing you need to know is we're changing, we're shifting. So you're going to get to see us experience the bumps and bruises along the way. So just be warned, this first part, you hear us going, how to get him in. We're still trying to get Aaron in. Aaron hadn't figured out how to get in, but we're still trying to get him in. And Barb's disappeared again. I can't see her. And so we'll figure this out as we go along. But welcome, a Sunday night. I'm Roland. I'm the host. I'm the chief cook and bottle washer at Silverline. And I am the writer of Cat and Mouse. I'm the writer of Trumps, which we may see some tonight. So yeah. And before I get to the other introductions, let me shout out to Daytona Beach Comic Con for being a sponsor. Thank you very much, Daytona Beach Comic Con. We are looking forward to a Silverline appearance at Daytona this coming September. And we had a fun time at oh man, I spilled some stuff at Brick City, or I had a fun time at Brick City. And John Martin won't be joining us tonight because he is probably Sunday. He is probably on the road back from South Carolina Comic Con, where he said Friar Rush went over really well, and we were happy to hear that. So we're expecting John again next week. So I don't know if we all see the same thing. I know that I don't have Barb. I know that I don't have the stream up, so I need to get the stream up while y'all make some introductions. So I'm just gonna start with you, Curtis, and you tell people who you are, and then just pass the baton to somebody, and I'm gonna see if I can't get back to helping Aaron.
Sounds good. My name is Curtis Fujita. I'm the creative director at Silverline. And I'll turn over to Pete.
Oh, I do hear an echo now. Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Pete. I'm a penciler. I'm just a penciler. I'm the penciler on Silverline Team Up, Champion of Miss Fury, and currently I'm stepping into pencil issue 4 of Trumps, which I might get around to showing you some work on tonight. Who wants to go next?
I'm Quentin Bedwell. I'm working on issue 3 of Trumps for Silverline. Good to be here.
Anyone else? Who else is this?
Well, Barb, y'all went mighty quick there.
Yes, because our titles are fairly short compared to yours, Curtis's and Barb's.
Barb, can you hear us again?
I can hear you again. Now I gotta get my video going.
Okay. Do you want to? There you are. You want to make an introduction? Tell people who you are.
Yes.
Can't hear Barb.
My name is Barb Kilberg. I'm the CFO of Silverline. I am the creator, inker, co-writer, and colorist of the award-winning Divinity. And I just finished coloring Sirens, and I'm inking the last issue of the first run of Cat and Mouse. How's that?
Nice.
I'm still figuring this Discord out. So
Can you all hear Barb? Because I don't hear Barb at all. I don't see her.
Are you being serious?
No, I don't see or hear her.
No, you are not being serious now.
All that was just silent for me, and I was like, I think they can hear her because no one said anything. I can't.
Oh my God.
That's too much.
Gain one, lose one.
Yeah, I know. It's like first Barb can hear.
I hear that.
Yeah, I hear that too.
What's that?
What is that? Okay.
Curtis is gone. Right, okay.
This is production history. This is what this
Mhm.
is.
This reminds me
Uh,
of musical chairs.
oh,
Right.
okay. Well,
Okay.
so I'm sure Curtis will be back. We're still trying to get Aaron in.
When I switched to my pad, I'm trying to get it set up here so it's not going to fall over.
So the beauty of this is, y'all, I don't know if y'all you watched Wednesday at all, but they also had problems when they first got started. So it was
Yes, they
kind of
did.
funny. It was kind of funny watching them try to figure everything out as well. All right, so Curtis is back.
I wasn't having any luck on my laptop, so I switched to my iPad.
Okay. So I don't. Let me pop back over and see if Aaron ever responded to my direction. There is no. Go to. Let's see, Aaron. I don't know if you can hear. Go to hanging out. Hanging out.
There it is.
I don't know how to kick him from the server. But I can't even see him though on Discord. No,
Yeah.
because I can't because I'm in the staff meeting.
Ooh, who lost now?
How do I do that? Oh, but I'm not. I'm not. I wasn't full screen. I was in a window. Are you actually coming over here to see?
Do
we
we
will
get to see the unpaid producer?
My God.
What?
I doubt it. I think he's
I was
trying to
beginning
figure
to
it out
think he
otherwise.
was fictional.
No, he's real. You are coming over here. What? Because you can't figure out the technology. Well, come on, move the light, step in here. We are. Don't forget, y'all. We're live. We're going to be talking about NFTs. We can't get to
I don't
NFT.
even know what
Get
NFT
a quick
are.
look
Can
at
you
the unpaid
tell us?
producer. Quick look, unpaid producer.
Oh, wowzers. There's the brains of the operation.
So you see, I'm in full screen here. I mean, I'm not in full screen, but I in order to do that. Okay. So that's much better, Barb.
Thank you. Works for me too. All right.
So I know what you're talking about, but I can't see that list when I'm in the meeting. I don't know why not.
What was his name?
Demo. Oh, hold on. Here's a new screenshot from him.
Oh, he's in now.
Okay, so all right, I think I can direct him from here. Okay. Over on the left. Here. So somebody talk while I try to get Aaron in here.
Well,
Let's hear your
I would love
beautiful
to, but
voice.
I don't understand what NFTs are.
I don't
I'm still perplexed by this whole thing.
Somebody explain.
So this is going to be a quiet evening for me, I suspect. Yeah.
It's non-fat tamales. We're talking
See,
about non-fat tamales.
It could actually be that. I just don't know.
So I like tamales. I just don't know how I feel about non-fat tamales.
I don't know what tamales are.
Curtis,
This is not.
that's
This is
right.
not going to go. I don't know. I don't do that.
Yeah, it's about it.
Have you got pages for issue 3 that you can show us? Or you're working on?
Sure, I do.
Do
I
that.
wonder if showing my screen in the middle of
Yeah, don't worry about
the
it.
stream apocalypse, if it'll mess
Don't worry about
something
them.
up.
They failed. They're out.
It's about as much sense to me as Bitcoins. So Somebody's gonna have to explain it to me.
I see a lot of advertisement for Bitcoins. I don't know really how I feel about it.
Well, yeah, it's imaginary money. It's basically that's
Yeah,
what it is to
you
me.
know, really it all is, but I mean, this is a little more complicated. I say it all is because we're not on gold, but you know,
Are you talking to
um,
Bob? I can't hear
yes.
Bob. I can't hear Bob or see Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's terrible.
Again?
I can be your mediator.
So that's what I was first. Now you can all see and hear her. I can't.
Yeah,
Can you folks hear me now?
I can hear you,
Yes.
Curtis.
Okay.
All right.
All
Barb,
right,
can
good.
you hear Curtis?
I can hear Curtis.
Okay, that's a start. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. But apparently Peter can't see or hear me now. When we first came on, he was the only person I could see or hear. Now he can't see or hear me.
Well, I can hear you, Barb, but you're stuck on your screen like this.
Seriously?
So it's like you've been reaching for something for a really long
Oh,
time.
my.
At first, I thought she's gonna get a cramp, but then I got to realizing it's just frozen.
Hey, Curtis,
Yes. Uh-huh.
do you know what an NFT is?
I kind of did a little homework and was watching the guys on Wednesday. So I guess in essence, what it is, for lack of a better word, it's like in most simple terms, it's essentially like a certificate of authenticity for a digital work, whether that be a JPEG, a digital image, a document, something like that. So in that sense, you can sell the initial first run of a comic book image or something like that, and somebody could be considered to have the very original piece of artwork, something along those lines.
It's supposed to be the one and only.
Exactly. And then the cool thing that sounded really interesting is that potentially, like, let's say we made a special edition version of Divinity, for instance, and this digital file was the collector's edition. Somebody would buy that, and potentially, if they sell that file to somebody else, you, the creator, will get a percentage of the payment every time it gets resold in perpetuity. So it has some interesting implications.
How would you enforce that?
Again, I'm not the technical person, but it has to do with, I guess, the blockchain, the way that almost like a Bitcoin or something like that, how it's kind of documented as a very specific digital file. It would kind of keep track of it, but it's kind
guessing,
of a.
From what I understand, that's kind of like a copyright office.
Okay.
Something similar to that. Or a trademark office. Where you go and check on trademarks or copyrights or whatever. Patents.
Yeah.
That's what the places that usually hold the NFTs or manage them or whatever.
There's
I like that.
There's nothing to hold in your hand. There's nothing to hang on the wall.
No, you own a
Hmm.
file. You own a piece of digital information in the form of numbers that when you pull it up on your screen, it's something. But you get to say that you own it. You own, whichever one it is.
How hard it would be to pirate that.
I think the original,
there'll
the
be
image,
that.
anybody could have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that the thing? You can still, anyone can see it and view it still.
Yeah.
But you
just
own it technically.
Yeah, it was interesting what the guys were saying. They were saying, yeah, I mean, anybody could copy the file or share the image or the actual intellectual property, but the person who could actually lay claim to saying I have the authentic original edition of the digital file could still technically claim that. So it's interesting,
Well, it certainly does away with the grading system.
That's for sure, right? I think it could be great for creators, though. For creators, I mean, all everybody in comic books. I mean, how, it's hard to carve out, a good sum of money, and potentially, if you have something that kind of keeps going up the chain every time it's sold, and you get your cut, that's great. I think that could potentially be great for creators.
Not to interrupt you, but Aaron Humphreys is in the house.
What's up,
Aaron
Aaron?
Humphrey.
That's it. So how do I see the rest of you guys? All I see is various people on this little window.
So, all right. So, do you see where the hanging out is?
Yeah.
All right. Click. You see just below that. You see Silverline Comic Staff Meeting.
Yeah.
Click that.
Oh.
Now you should see us
Yeah.
all. Now you see us?
Yeah, now I
Hey,
see.
yes, no, you don't.
Hey!
That is I've used
Well,
Discord
Aaron.
before, and Discord confuses me so much. I actually had Discord on here. I'll use it on the internet, but I won't download it on my computer because every hour it's ding, ding, ding,
Yes,
ding,
yes.
ding,
Shut
ding,
that
ding, ding,
off.
ding. Oh, it just tries.
You can
Yeah.
turn that off.
Can you turn that off? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Use social media very, very limited. Very limited.
Yes.
So
you can
anything
turn
You're
that's
not on
like
that
good
off.
terms, huh?
trying to get my attention, I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to you.
Okay.
I don't want to talk to you,
So,
computer.
So, Aaron, tell everybody who you are real quick, and we'll jump back to our NFT.
We're about to finish, aren't we? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the artist on Fire Rush, which we just kickstarted issue 2. I'm a penciler. I am actually working on a new comic, and I think it's called The Obsoletes. That's the official title. I talked with Wes, and I have just started page 3 of that. So 2 pages in, and I'm already started page 3 of it. So
Nice.
and I'm coloring and working on my own comic at once. So so far it's going good.
If I can move this stuff around. Whoop. BJ, kill me if I show that part of the house. My office. Okay, so yeah, we were talking about NFTs, and I don't think I heard anybody say what and I may have missed it, so correct me. It's actually called non-fungible token, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
fun.
Yep.
Does that mean just like you can't transfer it into real money? Is that what it means? I think you can, can't you?
I don't know. I'm not certain.
Does it,
I'm
does
not
it
sure
just stay
on the-
digital money?
Or
So
has it become Bitcoin? Ugh.
Well,
the big thing I've been hearing online, and I've been talking with a friend about it, is that people are really against this because it creates such a environmental hazard.
how does it create an environment? It's digital.
Basically, what I'm gathering, and anyone out there in internet land, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm trying to figure out about this is because it's connected to a daisy chain, and it takes all of these computers. Like I know Bitcoin, you mine, so there's multiple computers tied in these huge server stacks that are using a lot of energy to mine these Bitcoins, and they're mining the coins out of code is what I'm gathering. So they have these miners, and you would go into rooms just full of computers, all mining, and it's like 1 in 1,000, 1 in 100,000 chance. Well, these same computers are using to create these daisy chain things that are connecting these codes somehow. So every time you create an NFT, I think you're adding to the daisy chain, which is creating a huge. Basically, it's using a lot more electricity than it should. Think of it as just you have to use these rooms and power these rooms a lot of electricity, and the more you add to it, the more electricity you use. So you're burning more coal and carbon because of it. And that's what I'm gathering. I'm trying to figure this out. But a lot of people now, there's a lot of people. I just watched a video on this before he got on here that are going against Twitter and really going after these people making NFTs. The environmentalists are going after them because of the carbon footprint they're putting on the earth. And so now you're getting hit by environmentalists over this.
you lost me at mining, to be honest.
They'll find a way.
Yeah.
Mining. Think of like
I know what mining is. I thought it was to do computers. What are they mining for?
You have lottery tickets, right?
Yeah.
In England,
Yeah.
like the lottery tickets. Imagine if you had 100 lottery tickets, right? And you kept getting 100. Like you kept getting a set of 100. And there was only one of 2 chances that one of those lottery tickets would hit. That's what they're doing mining. They're going through these code, and every time they go through it, there's only like 1 in a billion chance that one of them will produce what they call a Bitcoin. Boink. That's what gives the Bitcoin its value, because you have to mine it. You have to dig through all this code. So it takes a lot of energy and effort to get it because it's digital. I mean, same thing with money. I mean, it has to be rare in some capacity to give it value. And if a Bitcoin, if you could just duplicate the coin over and over again, there would be no value. So they've contacted with this sort of digital mining. And I've seen pictures online. You can see these huge rooms just connected with tons of computers that do nothing but mine Bitcoins.
Back to the barter system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay.
But a lot of the I've heard I know this sounds weird. I've heard a lot of the Bitcoin where that really got its big claim to fame, or like is on the dark web.
Yeah, Silk Road.
So a lot of people who do criminality will use that because
Right.
since Bitcoin is not tied to any nation, if you do a crime and get a million Bitcoins, well, no nation can say you stole their money because it's not connected to any nation. So it doesn't fall into any sort of federal law. So it's basically free money. Now, how that transfers to real money, I have no idea. But I do know that a lot of people would use digital currency as far as exchange for criminal activity.
Right.
And that's where it kind of got its big thing.
Okay.
Why NFTs are connected with that, I don't know.
Well,
I know it's
yeah, well, that was kind of what I was going to say. Is like because apparently, oh shoot, who's the artist who sold that piece for like $1 million and made DC mad?
I just watched that
I
show. What
forgot.
was his name? He was a Wonder Woman artist. He was an 81-year-old
Yeah.
guy, and he was I think his name was Dempsey. Maybe no. It was. I thought his last name started with a D. But yeah, his son got him hooked up with this. He's like, just draw something, Dad, and he did. And he made like $1 million. Now, apparently, according to the article, he did transfer it into real money.
Yeah.
Wasn't so, but how that happens, I don't know.
All right, let me go see. Oh, let's see here. Who was this? Apparently, Jose Delbo. Oh, Delbo.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I did conventions with Jose not too long ago.
really?
Well, now he's a millionaire.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what this says. Where am I at here? Comic book. Let me hit the. We got a couple of comments here. Let me hit these for a
Good.
second.
I hope they know more than
Yeah,
we do.
maybe they can correct me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they might know more than us.
Tommy said on the Wednesday show, Scott couldn't see or hear John the entire show. He goes, ha
Yeah,
ha ha. He said, good luck, y'all. Ha ha.
I actually watched the
Dempsey
Wednesday
Blackman
show.
says,
They had a lot of problems.
idea. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? I was talking to BJ about this, and we had a lot of problems when we shifted over to Zoom. We were trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's new.
There's lots of
So
reasons
everyone's
that-
confused.
Yeah. Well, there's reasons that I won't go into live. You guys know some of them. There's reasons that I won't go into live that we need to make the change from Zoom. And since we're looking to kind of build up the Discord anyway, this seemed like a good, and since it could kind of do what we wanted to do, it's like, why not? And we've already got it. It's free to use. Let's just jump there. So Dempsey Blackman says, hello everyone. Hello Dempsey. For those of you who are watching, Dempsey is a Silverline intern. And he's asked a question that we may have kind of flown by. He says like a copyright or a watermark. And I think that there's a little bit more about the watermark than copyright, maybe. I don't know. We'll maybe circle back around to that, Dempsey, because I think your comment is probably 15 minutes old now. Brittany Man says, "Is that the Roland Man? Whoa, he's my favorite." Brittany Man. Thomas Flormonti said, "In most cases, you don't even get the file that you bought. You own the token of the file, and it's super uncopyable. So you own the token to the file, which is why there's only one, right?"
Yes.
I gather it's
some
as
computer
weird as it
thing.
is. It's almost like a bank account number or something, like a string of numbers that is or something. But I'm guessing. I mean, of course, like you would say driver's license, but I'm sure if somebody in another state that has my same driver's license number, it's just not in the same
Social security
state.
number.
That would, yeah, that
Yeah.
seems to be maybe more of what they're looking at.
Yeah. So
But
go ahead.
that would have to mean, though, that if you own a portion of it, then whenever it changes hands or you become part of the revenue chain, in other words, like you get a portion of whatever it sells for. I mean, there's got to be a reason to invest in NFT besides just saying, "Hey, I've got this."
Well, I
I
think
take
some of
it. Oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Sir?
I
Oh,
think this is what I'm trying to gather. I think it's almost like a digital version of playing the stock market. Like, so think of like you invest in the stock, hoping it'll
Yeah.
get good. So you buy the rights to the NFT, hoping that it'll sell well, that you can get like dividends, sort of idea, because you're investing in the idea that you can do something with the artwork. This is why I don't think if I made an
Yeah.
NFT, I would sell it for
Yep.
millions because I'm not well known and my characters are not well known. So, but
But
if you're,
but you
yeah,
could sell it for tens.
yeah,
I mean, and I think here's the thing here's the thing that draws me to the idea of NFTs. Is that comics are super pirated digitally.
Right.
I'm talking. There's so much piracy that goes on with comics. As comic creators, now we're not a big part of that just yet. But as comic creators, we stand to lose a lot of money in the terms of revenues and royalties to us because people pirate. Now, you'll have some
yeah,
people are like, yeah, but I don't really care if they copy the digital file as long as they read it. Like, okay, that I get you, I hear you, I feel you. I want people to read my stuff too, but that only goes so far.
right,
Let me choose to give it to you. But
yeah.
the piracy literally takes the money out of or the decision making out of the creator's hands. And
Are
so
you,
the idea of NFTs is like, okay, if I can create something that has an NFT, then maybe I can stop the piracy. You can't pirate it just because you feel like, you don't want to pay Marvel Comics, I'm going to stick it to the
yeah,
man. I'm going to read their comic. Ha ha ha. You know?
right.
Uh, so Kevin Smith. I don't know exactly how it is, but Kevin Smith has announced that he's going to do a movie that he's going to release NFT somehow. So you have to buy a token, as I understand it, and someone can correct me. You're going to
Yeah.
have to buy a token, the NFT token, in order to see the movie that he makes.
See, I heard, now maybe I'm wrong too. I heard he's selling the original, so you could still see the movie. He's selling the original raw edit of it,
Okay, all right. Let me
and
see if
that's
I
what
can't
I get.
follow this link.
Again, so he's still, so you can still like watch the movie if you wanted to. There's somebody's owning the digital raw edit. And again, I don't know what they can do with that, if they can show it. And I'm like you. Is it like, so if somebody bought my art and every time they post it or use it, do I get a little royalty? Ding! Like, is that what it's? Because I mean, if that's the case, then I can understand your idea of independent comics. And every time somebody pirates it or whatever, that I automatically get some change in my pocket. I mean, then it's like, well, yeah, pirate it all you want. If the code's automatically gonna knock me back money, then I'm getting money and you can't do anything about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's really confusing. And the only thing I'm thinking is like, if that's the case, though, why would you sell the NFT? I mean, it seems
I don't
really
know.
weird because then you have to sell the NFT to somebody else, and they would be the one responsible for selling it or moving it around, and then you would get money. So if you create an NFT and kept it, you get nothing. You have to sell it to somebody else and hope they
Well, I
do good
think
stuff with
you
it for you to get
make the
money. This is what I'm
NFT.
guessing.
I think you make the NFT in hopes that
Yeah.
it gets popular or you get popular and it make it
Right.
worth something and then you sell it. But until you sell it, you have it and you're just waiting for something to pop off and, you know, make it worth something.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
And
very
if you're
confusing.
already famous and you know start making NFTs, then that's you already have skin in the game. So
Yeah. I
To the
sometimes this whole conversation, I admit I'm a big part of it. I feel like we're a bunch of old people trying to figure out VHS instructions together or something. Like we have no idea what we're guessing at what this is
yeah.
all about.
going back to the environmental issue, but then you're looking at half a dozen one, 60 the other. Should we ramp up the electricity used in all these servers, or should we kill a tree to print?
It's that again, and that's. I was talking to my friend Tom about that, and we were saying the same thing. It's there's no such thing as making something without burning something. I mean, that's just the basic laws of physics. That's just
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing with going from paper bags back in the day to plastic. I mean, I loved paper bags, and now we have plastic, and you won, but now we have plastic bags that just don't degrade.
Well, no, I always thought
I don't know.
I always thought the funny thing with the plastic bag things is it was a win-win for the grocery stores. So they still have plastic bags, but they get to charge for it. So either they're saving money by you bringing in your own bag, or they're earning money by selling you the plastic bags.
Well, that's in California. They don't charge for plastic bags here.
Yeah,
I got
in Oregon they do too.
Yeah.
I think we're just getting rid of plastic bags here.
So how do you take your groceries out of the market?
You'll either get paper bags, which you can buy, or you bring your own. But even if you're getting your veg and stuff, and you put it in those little clear plastic bags, I guess you do that there. I think you do that there.
Yeah,
It's funny.
It's getting rid of that as well. There'll be no more plastic.
So do most people across the pond, Pete? Do most people carry their own bags too?
The boot of my car is full of bags.
Is it really?
Yeah. Because I'm going to the shop, I was like, oh, I need a bag. Yeah, I got a bag. It's fine.
We just made the decision, a couple of years ago to be environmentally friendly and carry our own cloth bags.
Quite a few people have done that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny, we have a grocery store that keeps giving us reusable plastic bags, but the problem is, it's like you can reuse these, but you keep giving it. We have a whole stack of plastic reusable that we can never use all of these. It's like, look, can we give us 5 and then can we tell you to stop giving us these? Because of course they're going in the trash. What are we gonna do with 50 reusable plastic bags, especially if they just keep giving them to us? So I'm just like, okay, that was I went out there and I'm like, well, I don't think we're going to do anything with all of these. So I actually use so when I get the plastic bags, I know they're biodegradable, but I use them to clean up stuff as trash bags for other things.
That's what
for my
we do.
cat. Let's just say
We
cat stuff.
we have a little bend, and you just fit them in the top. So every time we unbag groceries, we just fit them in the top, and we use them for bathroom trash bags or stuff like that.
I use them for
put them in the car,
cleaning up after my cat, stuff like that. Yeah, stuff of that. I'm just like, why not just reuse them? They're free trash bags. So I'm like you guys. I've been watching stuff at NFTs, and I'm still we need Tim here. I will admit, when I was listening to Tim Wednesday night, Tim was like, I'm like, Tim, you're explaining everything.
I know,
because he actually
in ways that you can understand, right?
Right. I think he actually deals with digital money.
He does.
Well, some of it.
Yeah. I was scrolling through here. Rob Liefeld made an announcement that he was going to do something with NFTs, and I was some new project of his, and I'm scrolling through his Twitter trying to find it because I can't remember when it was. But he announced that he was going to do it, and then he announced, okay, I'm not going to do it because there's still some stuff about it I don't know. And so there was something that caused him to...
Yeah, I saw that. Too many unknowns.
Right, too many unknowns. And I was trying to find it so I could, not make up words and put it in his mouth. But yeah, so I don't know the whole story behind it. I just know that something like that happened.
Yeah, I read that too. I read at least a paragraph or something somewhere that he was going to and then didn't. But it seems like, again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I get I'm just thinking people why don't you sell your work as NFTs? I'm like, well, even if I bought it, what would be the exchange rate? It would be 10,000 Bitcoins exchanged $10 or something. And not to mention, I'm one of the rare artists that I still do all my stuff physically. So I don't really technically need to sell NFTs because all my stuff is in physical form. I mean, I have stacks of pages you can buy physically. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't do a lot of digital stuff. And that seems to be more garnered towards people.
Well, that's always been the trade-off with traditional versus digital.
Yeah.
With digital, There's a lot of ease of file transfer. There's a lot of stuff while you're doing the artwork you can do. Curtis and I were talking about some of the great things that you can do with digital. But at the end of the day, when you're done with it, it's pixels, and you can sell traditional. And when you look at them, there's a certain, kind of charm when you see it, like when you go to a con and you see original artwork on 11 by 17 board. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's always a trade-off, and this way with NFTs, I think, is a way that eventually, possibly, digital artists, can maybe make some money off of their stuff, but I don't know.
And I think that's kind of part of what's behind it is that, as a digital artist, you don't create original art in the sense of, and when I say you don't create original art, I mean that you don't create physical art. Your art is original, but you don't create physical art that you can carry to a show and sell. It's all just, ones and zeros and, bits and bytes and whatever. So you that's easily pirated and copied. So I think that's kind of what part of the idea behind that is that you have the NFT and you can then sell the digital as an original.
Yeah.
A couple, hold your thought there. A couple of comments. Dempsey Blackman says, "Are NFTs a new standard with comic books?" That's a good question. He said, "Was it me? Haha, I wish I drew Wonder Woman for $1 million." Right? No kidding.
Yeah. Well, that guy worked on Wonder Woman, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's a long time, professional Marvel DC guy. Yeah. Super nice guy too. Wubba Fett says, "Hola, hey Wubba, we miss you, man."
What's up, Wubba?
Yeah, Wubba.
So Wubba says, even if you don't sell the NFT, minting a NFT establishes copyright and ownership. And Wubba says, Tim, John Crowther, and myself all have crypto investing. Yeah, so the three of them are all into the Bitcoin crypto investing, and I think that is very stock market like. See, Wubba, you should be on here telling us about this stuff.
I use
Yeah, Wubba, come on, dude.
Can I use Bitcoins to buy stuff off of Amazon?
We need your expertise, man.
So I don't
but I think, but here, hold the thought though, because I think in the future you will be able to use Bitcoins to buy some stuff.
Well, I remember they tried, and I'm not sure if it was Bitcoin because it may not, but I remember it might have been like I think when Bitcoin first came out, there were certain places of business that you could spend Bitcoins at. Like you can go to a restaurant and have like, oh, you can buy Bitcoin, and they stopped doing that a while ago. Like they tried to take it off, and I think a lot of times people are like, no, it didn't fly. So
you can buy Bitcoin. You can spend Bitcoins on Twitter, Twitch. I mean,
on Twitch.
I know they have a Bitcoin card now. A metal card. I keep on seeing these commercials for it. So could be leading us to eventually a quasi one world currency, because it's not divided by country or any of that. So you never know.
No, you never know. I'm just reading something here from what's that?
But exchange rates would still have to be accounted for.
Yeah, that would be, so it would have to be like Bitcoin Australia, Bitcoin France, Bitcoin USA to compensate for the exchange rate.
Yeah, because a dollar here is vastly different from a dollar, say, in Mexico.
Yeah, that's why when you would have a lot of people who would be working in other countries, working for American companies, all of a sudden they started playing in Bitcoin, everything was the same, then we'd all be in equal competition. In other words, me getting, having like a $50 page rate for a comic is not a big deal, but in other countries, $50 American, that translates to, some cash when you do the exchange rate. That's why that works.
Well, yeah.
If Bitcoin is all the same and that evens the playing field and all those guys are even with us, so that's not going to work as much. In other words, these companies won't be able to find their kind of cheap labor, I guess is the evil word to say, because they'll have to pay the same.
Yeah. apparently Wizard World is doing some kind of NFT as well. Did y'all see that?
Do you think this is one of these things, like almost like as dumb as it is, like the housing bubble? Like everyone's gonna jump on it to the point like NFTs are just a dime a dozen and no one's gonna care?
I mean, like
Maybe.
the 90s.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Like in other words, are we creating basically a digital speculators market?
Yes, and we're going to crash and burn and all
Well, I
of
mean,
those
who knows at
apps.
this
Yeah.
point? I mean, it could be one of those things where, you know, it's the start of something that's going to be huge and take over everything, you know, and we don't even really know how
Yeah.
far this is going to go. It could be something like that, you know,
It could
or
be.
it could be, like you say, it could be just a bubble. Who knows? I mean, it's so early.
I remember when the thought of carrying a little plastic card and sticking it in a machine instead of using a checkbook or cash was like, wow.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
paying bills
Yeah.
online. I remember the
No.
Randy Travis song, "A Better Class of Losers." I'm going back to a better class of losers where they don't pay their bills on home computers. I mean, that's everybody now. You know, even the losers
Yeah.
were doing that. So I mean,
I wouldn't even be able to tell you the last time I used an actual checkbook. So, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean,
I can
you
tell
ever
you the
get
last
behind
time
those
we
people
did.
in line? You ever get behind those people in line in the grocery store? They stop and writing out a check instead of swiping the card. You have to wait a little bit longer. Everybody's just kind of standing, tapping their foot.
Debit.
I'm gonna call him out. I can remember exactly the last time we used a checkbook.
All right.
When huh?
So you paid RA?
Yes, we paid R.A. Jones.
Mister, don't touch me with the technology with a 10.
Yeah, I tried to figure out how to pay R.A. Jones, and I'm like, all right, dude, we'll just write you a check. And so we literally wrote him a check and stuck it in an envelope and mailed it to him. So
That's pretty good.
Yep.
Well, I think the whole NFT thing it's an interesting thing because I remember when there was the writer's strike in Hollywood out here, gosh, over a decade ago, right? And it just rocked the industry. And the whole reason they had the writer's strike was digital rights. And so the writers wanted to renegotiate because streaming and that idea was still on the horizon. But their union basically said, hey, we want to be able to get our rights and our money for things when they're distributed online.
Right.
And it was just this far gone thing that nobody understood. And my wife used to be in the film industry, and it actually almost demolished the entire entertainment industry in the sense that that's when reality TV got big because all the studios said, fine, we're just going to switch to reality TV so we don't have to pay any writers. And that's when you had amazing television like Flavor of Love and stuff like that. But what ended up happening is they were right to do that because all of a sudden Netflix started streaming and all these things, and now all these creators are in this space. And I guess DC is kind of a little upset about that gentleman making all that money on that Wonder Woman artwork, right? And so it's like the fight's already on. It's going to be very interesting, but it's almost heartbreaking sometimes because, how many times have we gone to a comic convention and you have some veteran artists or creatives that are just put their heart and soul into things.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no retirement plan,
Nope.
And they should really get their due. I think Tim was mentioning, and I read it too. The creator of Winter Soldier, not Bucky, of course. I forget his name, the writer. But they said
Brubaker.
Brubaker. They said at Brubaker, they said that he made more money for his cameo in the Winter Soldier movie than he did for creating the Winter Soldier.
Wow.
Yeah,
and,
I read that article.
And so I just feel like it's scale.
Scale. Yeah,
scale.
It is funny, people. I know people from the outside always tend to look into comics and think, "Oh, you do comic, you must make lots of money." I'm like, when's the last time you kind of looked in on comics and see how how well they sell and they see them on the big screen though, and they think, "Oh, Captain America, Spider-Man, all in the movies, so all those people must be rich."
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
No, not really.
Rowan, you're not rich.
Yeah.
I'm off this stream. Forget this.
Dude, I got a fan here running that my grandfather owns, right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Listen, someone gone there?
I think we
I think
lost
Will's
Mr.
gone.
Roland.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bubba boom.
the fan quit working.
Yeah, my fan stopped.
Through a breaker.
I don't know what happened. But that's the beauty of Discord now, is that, right?
We get random stuff.
And
He's gone.
Kicks back out. Yep. Poofed.
Yeah.
All right, Curtis, it's up to you to pick up the slack.
What's going on, Curtis?
Okay.
What are we doing?
Oh, well, my name's Curtis Fujita. I was born in 1970.
Yeah, that's good.
Let me tell you the story about a young Eurasian boy who rode the ranks of the comic book industry to infamy.
Good padding. That's it.
Thank you. Oh, he's
I don't
back.
know why.
There we go.
I don't know why I keep cutting out. I don't know what literally my Discord just crashed. What I was going to say is this is the beauty of using Discord instead of Zoom, because if I crash, the rest of you can stay, right? And it doesn't destroy the whole Zoom. Wubba's got a big string of comments here. He says, even if you don't, let's see, I read that already. He says you can use Bitcoin to pay for Tesla. You can use it on Twitch, and you can use it on some other places. And he goes, they can keep doing it. My investments will go up. And he says, what makes crypto and NFTs so volatile is it's still so new. But that makes for huge profits for those in the gate already. DC and Marvel both are putting the screws down on NFTs and con pinup artists. Well, then that's interesting.
They're going after the pinup artists.
Well, you know what? If they're going to go,
that.
if they're going to go after the NFTs, they're going to have to go after the con pinup artists. You know,
because they can't make a
read
big
that the
fuss
other
over
day.
this and completely ignore the
No.
others. Yeah,
no, because
That's
you know,
A
gonna
ton of
be-
money. The
What?
pinup, the big pinup tables, they make a ton of money.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and I don't know what I don't know what they're referred to around other parts of the world, but I know down here we lovingly refer to them as poster pirates.
Mm.
Poster
Oh, I never heard that. Like,
Yep. Now I've also heard print jockeys and poster pirates.
Last time we had Wizard World Madison here a couple years ago, I was tabled across from an outfit that had like 5 tables, and their display was probably 20 feet high or
Good
more.
grief.
And it was just
Wow.
hundreds and hundreds of prints. And I went over and talked to him, and I says, "Do you good at?" Because this is our full-time job. We just travel around the country, and I'm not the only unit that does this. We're out of, I don't remember where he was out of, but it was his family, and there were in-laws, and they were all in on it, and they just had like 3 different. There he goes.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my Discord.
They had like 3 different operating units that were hitting conventions around the country, and they just raked it in.
Wow.
I will say, if this becomes a thing that DC is going to start cracking down, other places are going to start cracking down on copyrights or conventions, man, you will. I don't think you're going to gut conventions. You're going to change conventions, hopefully for the better. Hopefully,
Well,
we'll
yeah, I
start
was
seeing
gonna
people, more people making comics. Because I mean, the thing about all these poster jockeys, or what, I've never heard these terms, is like, yeah, but you wouldn't be selling you wouldn't be making all the money you're making if it wasn't for the people like us little creators sitting across from you selling our books.
Right.
Because we were the ones that made this stuff popular, make people want to buy posters of your stuff.
Right.
So people are
you
people
can't-
tried to ask me. Oh, go ahead.
You can't make the argument to them though that, hey, it's free advertising for you. Why would you stop something like that? They can't. They're like, we can do our advertising ourselves. They don't. They're looking at dollar signs. And as far as these poster pirates, I've been to a few cons where they're not only taking like photos offline, but they're taking people's artwork as well, and then they run a series of filters on it, and of course they call it theirs then, because it's a certain percentage different, they think that's a thing. But if you get into a copyright, I've looked into all this. If you get into a copyright squabble with somebody and you go to court, that 25% thing that everybody talks about, that's not real.
Yeah.
So
It's
Original art.
just be aware.
I've done original art and made prints of Marvel and DC characters, but I've also worked for Marvel and DC,
yeah.
and I've contributed to those characters. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
have 2 Wonder Woman prints that I sell, but I also worked on Wonder Woman. I don't feel bad
Yeah.
about it. You know?
No, I mean, I would assume the people who actually worked on the books, it's just you see, and most of them usually E&A.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
usually
the guys that got in their basement. They get this outfit that I was talking about. They had 2 of the members were the artists, and they were making all these posters.
right.
They had no affiliation with any company. They were just doing the artwork, and they were just turning out hundreds and hundreds of prints and selling them.
Yeah.
You know?
And stuff. But it's strange. I keep hearing this. I've watched a few videos lately about how manga is just destroying the American comic market.
So
And I find that I don't know the numbers or whatever. But again, you talk about most of the poster stuff that I see, so much of it is manga related too. Now, and I don't know the copyright because since most of those properties are held in Japan, I don't know. I mean, I would assume you could sell all you want overseas. I don't think the Japanese companies are going to do much, but I don't know.
posters I've also seen are just basically
So I don't.
traced over the originals, and then they call it
Yeah.
Original. And then they make
Yeah.
posters from it, and they say, well, I didn't steal it from the artist. It was original art. It was traced over the original art.
The
Oh
big
yeah.
question is intellectual property, right? And that's the thing. I guess is it just this kind of foregone conclusion that it's going to happen because like those big companies that own those properties, I mean, conceivably they could go after people, right? But I mean,
Well,
there's
they
just so many
do.
people, so many
Yeah.
dimensions, right? They do.
Oh yeah,
Would
they
it-
do.
They
would it
do.
Oh
be
yeah.
I know.
Would it be economically
Uh,
feasible though?
Yeah.
Well,
Would-
they get what they do is they give warnings out. I know when
Cease
I
and
was
desist.
airbrushing years ago, man, I saw people. I went to the North Carolina 10-day fair, and I watched them bag up a guy's stuff because he
Really?
was selling. Yeah, he had got everything set up. He had a huge area there in the place where they do all this singing and stuff, and they went in with trash bags and took all of his stuff down. But he had sweaters of different schools, like colleges and stuff, that he had printed with no authority. And supposedly he said that he had the license and the license had went out of date. He was just trying to sell the stock that he
Mhm.
had, but they bagged
Colleges are
all of his
fierce.
stuff up because they had
Yes, they
already
are.
warned him. And as far as what you were talking about, Curtis, we're living in the age right now where if you buy something, there's a list of rules with it.
Yeah.
If you buy any kind of software, if you buy any kind of, if you download apps or whatever, it's kind of like back in the day, you'd sell somebody a hammer and they owned the hammer, all the rights to it. They do whatever they wanted to with the hammer, but now it's like they sell you the goat, but they hold the rope. So you can have this as long as you behave, So that's the age we're living in, and they will get you quick if they catch you, doing any kind of,
Colleges
even
are
if you did the work
fierce.
and you drew the Mickey Mouse, it doesn't matter. It's their Mickey Mouse. It's their intellectual property. So they get to say.
And you can usually get away with doing one-offs, like a little, hey, I'm going to pay you, $100 to draw this little thing for me. But what happens is when you make prints, that's where you absolutely cross the line because you are mass producing at that point in time.
Yeah. Well, strangely enough, what would your feelings if somebody started making prints of one of the Silverline properties and selling them?
You know, I would have an issue with it because
Yeah.
they didn't ask.
Yeah.
I think if someone came to me and said, I got this really cool thing of cat and mouse. Would you care if I made a print? I would probably say, no, man, that would be cool. Can I have one?
Yeah.
But I think if I just walked up, at a show and boom, there it was. I think I would be upset because they didn't ask.
I mean, because strangely enough, you could do. I mean, I'm not to saying this will happen, but what if you started seeing prints of like sexy prints of cat and mouse? I mean, that's a whole nother. And that's I've
And
even thought about.
this is why DC and Marvel protect their marks, because they don't have control of what it looks like. Barb?
Yeah.
Somebody who is very fiercely protective of their copyright is the Wendy and Richard Pino, the ElfQuest stuff. Oh, they are absolutely gung ho about protecting their copyright, and they've got legions and legions of rabid fans who keep their eyes out and will report back to them if they find anything.
Oh, that's
online.
cool.
Yeah, and they'll go after them. They're rabid about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think also if you don't protect your copyright, you can you can get like abandonment or something. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you know,
copyright.
yeah, if you know that it's happening and you fail to do anything about it, it can be argued in the court. Well, you knew this was happening and yet you didn't go after this, so you obviously don't care, and therefore we're going to rule for these other people. So, I think that's one of the reasons that and I've seen Brian Pulido do the same thing. If he's at a show and he walks around and sees somebody selling a print of Lady Death or whatever, he will tell them, take that down. You don't have the rights to do that. That's my property. And I think a lot of independent creators would be willing to say, hey, that's really cool. I'm okay with that. But I think they would want to know. I mean, what about
if you ask their permission?
I'm gonna turn that same question around to the all of you. Barb, what do you think if you were at a show and saw someone selling a Divinity print? What would you?
I'm hoping that is a tasteful print, considering the age of your Divinity character.
Yeah,
so that's all I'm gonna say on that one.
I can see him. I could definitely see him doing an Olivia because she's busted. But I mean, I would hit the roof if I saw somebody doing a sexy picture of my 11-year-old Divinity. But no, I definitely would go up to them and say, "Gosh, where'd you get this?" I'd play dumb first and find out everything, and then I'd break it to them that that's my intellectual property, and if they're going to make money on it, then I want to know about it, and I either cease and desist or cut me in.
Right. Yeah. I think a license. Aaron, what about you? If you saw someone Godlings?
I don't know. I would. Yeah, I'd probably like Barbara. I would do a cease and desist. That would be. One, I'm still just kind of thinking like if I had a fan enough to actually go out of the way to do that. I mean, that's a shock to me, Wow, but I mean, again,
the first reaction is flattery, right?
It is. I think the first reaction is like, wow, somebody went out of the way. But yeah, I would ask them to have me cut me in, or give me half of their prints. They can sell the other half. I'll sell one half. I mean, maybe that could be a possibility, or something. I don't know.
Or you know what? That's really cool. Let me sell them too. Give me the file and let me sell them too. Something that shows they know you own the property and to cut you in some kind of way.
Yeah, I don't mind having them cut me in and still doing it as long as I benefit from it.
Right.
But
because you created it.
Right. So if I go up to somebody and say, that's my property, and you either cease and desist or we got to make a deal, and they say, well, screw you, that's a problem.
Oh, that's when it's on right there.
Yeah.
Now, strangely enough, would a convention...
And that's when she pulled out her knife and stabbed him in the throat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Could you take those problems to the convention organizers? Would certain I mean, I'm not all, but would certain conventions be like, okay, yeah, they can't sell that stuff? I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Convention
their yeah.
Go pick them out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You might. I think you might find one or two that would like. Yeah, we don't care. That's theirs to sell or whatever. They paid me the money for the table or whatever.
In other words, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Excuse me.
Like, because they could lose a repeat customer if the
Right.
doesn't come back.
But
Right.
they don't need the bad publicity that
Which-
creator
Exactly.
could bring to that.
Which you
convention
promised
either.
them that you would do.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Pete,
that's
if you saw somebody doing on Gracie's selling prints and making money off of it.
If they're making a shed load of money, I'd step in. If not, I'd just leave it. It's
Really?
just advertising for my character, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Do you
you a
want to-
story about AJ Casetta. So AJ's penciling. What's the book?
Wolf Hunter.
Wolf Hunter.
Yeah.
So AJ
Did
and
a
I
great job.
did a convention a couple of years back, and the convention said to us, "Oh, would you design or create some art for some special VIP badges, and we'll give you free table." So, oh yes, that's a good idea. Okay, so I
Yeah.
did one, and AJ did one, and we sent it off and didn't hear anything, and ended up getting charged for the table. Right, okay. So I assume then they're not using the artwork. No biggie. It's not an expensive table. But we made prints of this stuff, assuming they were going to sell because people have the badges and think, oh, he's got the artwork, so we'll get the print
Right.
of that. So we got these prints. Didn't sell one print. Okay, so we're there for 2 days. We're there for 2 days. We haven't sold one of these prints. Complete waste of money. And then you see a guy walk past the table, and he's got a print of AJ's artwork. I'm like, you haven't sold a print of the artwork? He said, no, I didn't sell that. Did you sell it for when I was off the table? So I didn't sell it when you were away from the table. So I went up and got the guy. I said, oh, look, do you mind? That's a good piece of artwork. Where did you get that? He said, oh, the convention selling it at their booth.
Oh my
So
goodness.
as people were coming in, they were selling the prints to them at the.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. I didn't see any of mine, so I don't know if they used mine or not. But what they've
And they
done
still
is
charged you for the table.
Yeah, and they so he sent them 11 by 17, and they wanted, and so what they've done to fit it on their square print, they just
Squished it.
squashed it.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I took the guy over and said, "Oh, this is they've ruined the artwork here. Here's the actual print. It's what it should look like." He bought a print, but yeah,
Wow.
remarkable length some people will go to.
Yeah, see,
That's a convention.
yeah, that's a convention. So see, not every convention I think is has a creator's best
No.
interest in at the heart, you
No.
know. And that's why we love Daytona Beach Comic Con.
Nice plug. Nice
Got your
plug.
plug in there.
Yeah. And he absolutely does have the creator's interest in heart. And I have seen him go after people who he's like, you can't do that. That's that belongs to that person over there. You can't do that. I've seen him do it. So I'm sorry, Curtis, you had a question?
Oh yeah. Does anybody want to hop on? I've been kind of, monopolizing the screen for a while. Does anybody?
Before you jump off,
Mhm.
Curtis, what have we been watching?
Oh, you've been watching my new Silverline comic book, Shadow Ghost, and the tagline for it is it's the Kung Fu comic by a Kung Fu master. And
What Kung Fu master? What are you
I'm a
talking
Kung Fu
about?
master.
You better be
Exactly.
careful, Aaron. He'll kung fu your head.
You know, he's only California. Is he
I
man
don't
on the
see this,
new,
but-
you know?
So Pete, if you want to see it, you actually have to click on the watch stream in the Discord.
Oh.
You
Yeah,
see
I
that?
had to do that as well. I didn't
You
even
see
know
that?
he was.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't even know he was showing his
Oh.
artwork till now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Curtis, you might as well stay on because I've not seen it yet.
So I didn't do
Early-
it because Discord's been acting up with me, but I've kind of been watching him do it on the. I have YouTube up, so I've been kind of watching him do it on the stream there. So yeah, and so Curtis, what page is this?
This is page 2. I've kind of been hopping
Page two.
back and forth,
Okay.
But if you don't mind, I'll just show you guys a little bit of the idea of using the martial arts background for it is. So there's a lot of
Now I think panel
little
2
subtle
you were
things.
working on last week, right? Because I remember you
Yeah.
putting the background in that. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of it has to do with like kind of tactics and things when you're doing martial arts, or specifically kung fu. Like if you listen panel 2, when he's taking the kick, he's blocking with 2 hands, and that's kind of an important thing because the mass of a leg is significantly bigger than a single hand. So if you try and block or take the impact of a kick with 1 hand, your arm will be broken, even if it's fairly conditioned. So there's this kind of idea of doubling up both your hands, so you increase the mass, so you can take more impact. And little things like this, like you can kind of see here, the one guy's throwing a punch and the other guy's kind of swerving to the side to get out of the way. And so when it goes to this panel, this is kind of rough. You can barely see it, but he's going to the side, so he throws a kick, a sideways kick in that direction to kind of meet him. It's kind of that idea in sports, like you don't hit where the ball is, you hit where the ball's going to be. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of tell here his arms are up. So when you're sparring or doing martial arts, it's all about looking for openings or creating openings. Sometimes it's just like chess. You won't go for the move that it looks like you're going for. You're just kind of trying to divide the person's attention. So the fact that his arms go up leaves an opening for his stomach, and so that would result in the last panel there.
Amateur.
But so it's those kind of little details I'm trying to work into the whole thing. So
even says I need to fall for that.
Noobs.
And it's just the way he doesn't even look at him as he kicks him. It's just I don't even. I know you're dead.
Well, there's the reason for that technically is when you're throwing this kind of kick, you want to torque. It's all about rules of opposites. As the leg launches one direction, you want to torque your upper body in another direction to get more torque. So this is one of the rare occasions that you would look the opposite direction. Normally, you definitely should. And
it conveniently looks cool as well.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just insult to injury. Hit you and then
you're done.
Go about your business.
Well, in martial arts, they always have like some of the funniest insults. Like one time, one of my teachers would say, if you wanted to go and perform or spar, he would say, "Yeah, help yourself." He goes, "Just don't tell anybody you're my student." You can do whatever you want. Just don't put my name on it. So that's great. That's my thing. But I'm gonna stop sharing.
Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Oh, there was a movie called Flashback that was like that. Was some guy was like new kung fu martial arts, and he's like, "Show me something." And so he was like, he just like will grab my arm, and the guy like grabbed his arm. He's gonna show him a move, and he just ends up slapping him. And then walking away, and I was just like, "That's perfect." Just like whack, and the guy's like, "What was that?" And he's like, "Well,
I think that was all right, La Femme Nikita. I think they did that in La Femme Nikita.
They do that too? Yeah, I remember. Okay.
All right, who's going to share? Pete, you want to share?
Okay. Where am I?
We're going to try it, huh?
I press close stream now.
I'm actually between projects right now, so I have nothing.
Share your screen. Okay, hang on.
So let's clarify that, though, Barb. So you say you have nothing, and yet I think there are pages in the folder for you.
The next Sirens? I just finished 48 pages today.
She hasn't even properly celebrated yet.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's another 48-page graphic novel waiting for me when I want to get started. But yeah, I just finished one today, and I haven't jumped into the next one just yet.
Can you? Is it working? Can you see it?
I have nothing tonight.
It says stream is ended. Yeah, I have.
Yeah. That's Curtis's stream is ended though.
Yeah, I've got rid of that. I'm trying to. I've shared the screen, but for some reason it can't see Clip Studio Paint.
The next thing I need to do is do some inking on Cat and Mouse.
Yes.
And we need to get the next Divinity script.
Okay, share.
Mr.
Yes. It's
for like 2 months now.
I know it is literally. Who we lose? It is literally at the top of my list, and I'm going to show you just so you believe me.
He has an actual list.
I do have an actual list of. Yeah.
Still right on paper?
Yeah. Well, I have to keep it in front of me sometimes to remind myself I got to do this. I got some things that are just that are just pressing so much. I gotta make a list and keep it in front of me. So yes, I do still write on paper.
And I bad that there was a year's gap between Divinity 1 and Divinity 2, but I had to take like 4 months away from comics.
You had personal stuff come up that could not be helped.
Nope. In fact, the whole concept behind Divinity was wrapped around this personal issue.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Pete.
I don't know why I can't share a screen. I'm pressing screen, share your screen.
Go
to application window, and I hit Clip Studio Paint, but there's nothing there. I press share, but nothing comes up.
Unpaid producer. You have anything to suggest here? Yes.
Yeah, so you have the login.
Oh, you have two different things? Oh, all right. So hang on, Pete. Let me send you let me send you login information for your tablet.
Oh lordy.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
I could share mine while he tries to work
Yeah,
that out.
yeah.
I'm just doing layouts, so be kind.
That's what I'm doing anyway. So that's fine. I'm doing roughs and layouts. It's fine. Well, something happened. What was that?
I don't know. Was it?
Got it?
Oh, watch stream. Look.
That's mine. That is mine.
Oh, just do that. Look.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
Something else happened.
I think. Is it working?
Yeah.
I see tops of heads and chest and a woman's pelvic area.
Do you see?
Somebody's got a mohawk.
You see
What
a
side are
line
you
going
looking at,
across the
Aaron?
screen?
Look at that panel. Yeah, well, I'm looking at the good side. Damn, look at her. Sorry.
What project is this?
Isn't this the Trump's us?
This is
Trump's.
Oh yeah, of course. She's got a diamond
Trump's.
on her.
Yep.
Okay, but you have to keep that face.
There.
Happy face.
All right, Pete. I'm sending you the login information via.
Well, Quentin's doing now, so not.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
big
All right. You can record that for future stream. So let's jump back over to Wubba's got a handful of things here.
That guy's still talking?
He said we were talking about the pushing the print jockeys. He says Disney co-authored and pushed most of the modern copyright laws. We're talking about DC and Marvel going after the print pirates, poster pirates. Dempsey says most people at conventions read manga over Western comics. I think I might disagree with that. He says new anime and manga gets popular every month. I do agree with that. Yeah, I don't know that I would agree that most people at conventions read manga over Western comics. I don't know that manga outsells, and I'd have to look this up, but I don't know that manga outsells Western comics here. I know that manga sells better and better here every year.
Now, I've read reports from I was hearing reports of comic shop owner that not only are they Western manga outselling Western comics, but they're literally just destroying us.
Really?
Yes. They're literally just
Well, that sounds like a whole topic for a Sunday sometime.
Yeah, you could. I mean, yeah. I will say this, that every time I go into a local like Barnes & Noble, we have one around here or whatever, the Western section keeps shrinking and the manga keeps getting bigger. Like they keep shrinking our section, expanding theirs. And these are, YouTubers and stuff. There's a guy named Perch who I listen to, and he's talked about this many times. Of like what we can learn that they're just, cause he owns 2 comic shops in Seattle, Washington. And again, I don't know. So where he's getting his information from, I haven't heard that, but I've heard that they are pretty much just like, and I think it's just because manga is able to target those teenagers and younger kids that have more disposable income than adults who need it more for bills, and so they're
Yeah.
spending more on manga. And I think that's kind of what's because not a lot of younger generations really read a lot of like American. The one place that they're really decimating American comics in is the girl market. So many
Yeah.
girls love
Yeah. Oh,
manga,
yeah. Yeah.
and that's one thing they're just destroying us in. So
Well, there's a handful of us who have argued for a long time that in the late '80s, maybe early '90s, DC and Marvel basically abandoned the young market. They started chasing
yeah,
the collector dollar and going
yeah,
after the fanboy, as opposed to help me out here, but wasn't Stan Lee's quote at one point in time? The target demographic was like 8 to 12.
yeah,
I think
And
so.
8 to 12 and boys probably.
yeah, certainly in boys, and of course that's changed over the years. But still, the idea was that you get them when they're young readers because they're going to go and do something else, whether it's sports or girls or computers or something. They're
yeah.
going to go and do something else. And Marvel and DC completely abandoned it. I know when I met with well, I won't call him by name, a buddy of mine at DC, who Curtis and Barb can probably guess really quickly. What's one of the things that I mentioned to him? I said, "You guys have, you've abandoned the market you've always had, the market for the young readers." His response was, "Well, we've got our dollar comics." I'm like, "Yes, but if you were, 8, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12, would you want to say, 'Oh, look, Johnny, you can't have this Batman, but you can have this dollar comic Batman that's Batman for kids because that's what it set up?'" No, you wouldn't want that. And that was the problem, is that they kiddified them up, and none of the kids wanted them because they thought they were making them, but the kids wanted the cool stuff, right? And I mean, we did when we were kids. We wanted the cool stuff, and so they abandoned that market, and I think it's a shame because they didn't, over the last 20 years or so, they failed to rebuild that audience.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've
My
lost a lot as well because they have tried to change their demographic as well, like from boys, young boys, to even girls, and that's a big difference. If you start, like there used to be more sexy type characters, and now there's just I
Yeah.
mean, just case in point, Carol Danvers, I think is her name, Miss Marvel.
Marvel.
You know, uh, she had the black, gold, and red version. You know that's the version I remember. But now she's, of course, clothed all the way up to her ears, and she's more. She can be more pleasing to everybody,
Yeah.
but
Well,
for boys, that's maybe some of them weren't buying, it for her personality. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or
Well,
or her
and
stories. They're like, wow, look at that hot girl on the cover,
of
and they're
course,
not doing
and
that.
Barb's even mentioned this before, and don't let me put words in your mouth, Barb. But Barb's even mentioned before, as a female reader of comics, absolutely, she was looking at the hot dudes, right? Tony Stark was your crush, or still is. I'm not real sure.
Yeah, it is. I want to fall in love.
Yeah,
I want to have a crush, and I like the good-looking dudes.
Yep.
And let me tell you,
Whoa.
there is a humongous market out there of tweens to 20-year-old girls that are being vastly underrated and ignored, and they are all on Tumblr. Oh my God. And they want this stuff, and they are eating the manga up like mad because they're targeting.
Yeah, they're not afraid
that
to do
age
it.
group. No, and they're spending money hand over fist.
Yeah.
You can do that and be tasteful. I mean, you really can. You can do it and be
Oh, yeah.
tasteful. Just get up to a certain line. Once you cross it, though, it's a little, off-putting. But
yeah, I mean, I think that was part of it. You look at the comics that we read back then; they were super sexy, But I used to always, say comics and soap operas of the day were birds of the same feather. If you watch soap operas, what were soap operas? Soap operas were, all about super handsome dudes and super gorgeous women in relationships and families and squabbles and power plays and all that kind of stuff. Comic books were the exact same way. They were super handsome dudes and super gorgeous, women, all in power plays and families and struggle. They were the same thing. It's just in comics they had superpowers.
When I was 14 years old, I was totally in lust with the warlord, Travis Morgan. I mean,
Oh
he
yeah.
ran,
Remember him?
he ran around with a skull codpiece, and that was it. I mean,
Yeah, Jam.
I was
And he had those
Barb's
wings.
Barb's like, if Roland wasn't making me keep this PG-13, I would tell you all kinds of things about that codpiece.
I mean, so to ignore the 14-year-old girls is a crime.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not hitting your target market.
Yeah.
And these are
And
all,
it's funny too. Oh, keep going.
I mean, these are all girls who have disposable income too.
Yep. Yeah.
One thing about it too that's interesting is if you look at a lot of the big manga fans, they also watch the anime. They watch the animated versions.
Mhm.
The culture itself is kind of they jump from one thing to another. Whereas I feel like in comic books, it's not the same. Some people read the books, some people read the books and watch the movies, but not the animation. But somehow they've been able to kind of get in the zeitgeist and with manga where they really have people all in for all the different products that are related to their
Right.
IP.
Yeah.
And somehow Western comics don't have that as much nowadays, at least
Right.
from what I can tell,
But I think we probably used to.
Oh yes, definitely.
Right? If you think about it, back 20 years ago, maybe even a little bit further than that, when you were in reading comics, you were all in, right? You did it all.
Yeah. We couldn't have enough stuff. I mean, it was like, it would be the crappiest toy, but if it was
I would
Wolverine, that
buy
was
it.
something amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and we
Yeah.
watched those crappy TV shows. Yeah, Nicholas Hammond,
yeah.
right, as Spider-Man crawling up that wall, right? Man, it was terrible, and I knew it, but I was glad to have it.
Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
You know what's
Yeah.
funny? There's also a lot of manga that's kind of immune a little bit. In other words, when you see a lot of the sexy stuff, like the sexy girls and stuff in manga, you don't see a lot of these people getting angry about it, like they did with the infamous Spider-Woman cover or
Yep.
something.
Yeah.
They get angry at Western comics when they do that, but manga seems to have this sort of immunity against it, whether because they just assume, well, that's from Japan, that's what Japan does, and I don't understand that. Like Americans try to do a little bit, titillation or whatever in their comics.
Silverline,
and
we're
it's
bringing sexy
boom.
back.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, and I don't understand it because I've looked at some of the ladies in One Piece, and I'm like, look, those things are defying gravity. And
Here's something
so
else that is huge in anime and with the young women is that there's a lot of very pretty androgynous men in anime, and the girls are
Yes.
all over that. The young women
Mhm.
just seem to love that. They eat that up. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're
Definitely.
talking about.
Which is weird.
I know.
Yeah, it is. Roland, don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud.
I'm not. I just said that for me, it's just weird. It's like, wow. I don't know. Yeah, but we strayed a long way from NFTs.
I think because most of us are still confused about
Because we
NFTs.
don't know. We
We don't know what
We
that
don't know
is.
enough about NFTs.
We did.
So
What the world?
Wubba said Aaron
We're
Humphreys,
talking
the main,
about busty women and
Yeah.
which is what comic books are about. Wubba said, Aaron, the manga companies are going after the poster pirates and cosplayers. They're
Oh,
tired
they
of.
are.
I hadn't heard that about the cosplayers. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, that is. I didn't hear that.
So
They
do
are
you
doing it.
so you think Marvel and DC are going to go after cosplayers for them too?
Why are they going after cosplayers? How can
So-
you?
That
so
is a
here's-
weird one.
So
how can you
here,
police the way people dress?
well, so here's what I think, Pete. I haven't heard this, and maybe if Wubba's still listening, he can chime in. Here's what I suspect. Okay, I suspect they don't really care how you dress, but when you get a booth at a convention and charge people money to take a picture of you as sexy Spider-Woman, then you're profiting off of their IP. Or when you make an OnlyFans page and you say, hey, for $10 you can see me in my or you can see me take off my Kitty Pryde suit, right?
$10. Which ones are you going to?
Yeah, Roland, I went to your channel and I didn't see
Yeah,
nothing
hey,
like that. I
come on
want my
now.
money back.
Oh, so now we're into online porn. Great.
No, it's just that I think they're what they're doing, and well, if you're still listening, yay or nay it. But what they're doing is they're looking at these people who are taking these costumes and turning them into a business, but they're making a business off of Marvel's and DC's IP. Like I know a local guy he's the Aquaman, right? He is a cosplayer and he's the Aquaman. I don't even know his real name. But he shows up and some of these stores and some of these conventions will pay him to show up as Aquaman. And so dude is literally making money off of being Aquaman, right?
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
So I don't know that they would care so much about someone just putting on a costume, but I think when they turn that into money, then they're like, hold on, we own that. We need a piece of this pie.
And also, there's a few cosplayers that are a little busty, you might say, and they're using a lot of those characters, and they're going for more the sexy side, but they are obviously making a business out of it and using various characters and obviously selling that sex appeal. So I can see with Disney, do you really want kids being like, wow, I never thought of Belle from Beauty and the Beast in that light.
That
That's
double
great.
D's.
Yeah. So I can see them protecting a little bit of I really like that Beauty and the Beast Beauty and the Beast movie now or something. I don't know. I mean, I can see them kind
Well,
of
they might
going
get the
after
boys
people.
demographic.
Yeah.
If they start.
I met a guy who
Sad to say.
made his living off of doing Spock cosplay. He was a dead ringer, and that's what he made his living off of. And it's amazing that Paramount never came after him.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
I think
but there's got to be some kind of. I was going to say there's got to be some kind of law somewhere about the different in impersonation, right? You do an impersonation because there's I mean I'm from Mississippi, so Elvis impersonators are everywhere around the area. I mean they're just everywhere. They're this little bar. Hey, Thursday night is Elvis impersonation night, right? And you get
there is like a parody and a few other things attached to that, a parody clause. Yeah. So I mean, if you were Aquaman or being Hawkeye, that's the guy like you're talking about, Aquaman. When I went to Albuquerque, there was a Hawkeye, and they could just start acting foolish, kind of parodying him if they tried to slap him with something,
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't know how that works out, but
I don't either. It's so confusing.
Yeah. Since Pete asked the question, I turned my answer into speculation.
Well, I have a question for you folks, which is, of these people that either like will take somebody else's art and sell it as a print, or even cosplayers that have turned into a career, how many do you think genuinely love the property, and how many people that are doing these kind of sidebar kind of businesses are just in it for a quick buck,
Oh, I think it's a quick buck. I've always thought that. Yeah. It's hard for me because if they really just love the properties, I don't know. I think it's too enticing. I think it's just in it for the cash.
It seems some of the print jockeys that the original artist will walk up to them and they don't have a clue.
No. Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that artist putting money in their pocket.
Sign. Yeah, that's a sure sign that they're just in it for the money. Because if for any one of us, if one of our idols walked up to, we would, oh, it's Jack Kirby! Oh my gosh! Right?
Yeah.
We would know immediately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since he's passed away now. That would be
All right. Yeah. You know what I mean.
I know.
You'd at least recognize the name.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, totally.
Well, it is funny, and I know that we've had this conversation. I know Barb and I have had it before. But growing up in Mississippi, one of the things I always liked about comics was that you could look at a comic and you had no idea who. This is obviously pre-social media and all that other stuff, but you could read the credits and you have no idea whether they're male, female, black, white. You didn't know any of that, right? Now you could say, well, there are some giveaways. Yes, you're right. There are some giveaways, but for years I thought Kim DeMolder was a girl.
Oh,
Okay.
good old Kim. I love Kim.
I know, but that's what I'm
I don't
saying,
know who
though.
that is.
What it's a he is a super talented inker, and I think he actually
Oh.
teaches at the Cuber School, doesn't he, Pete?
I'll show you something of Kim's if you can see it and you're not. So
People who thought Bobby Chase was a guy.
By Bobby
you-
Chase. There you go.
can
Yeah.
can you see this?
Oh wow, yeah, that's
Oh,
so
gorgeous.
cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
Damn.
So at the end of the year,
Nice.
Kim does a portrait of every graduating student, and
Wow.
he did me.
That
That's
is
awesome.
nice.
wow.
That is so cool.
And he just goes to ink. He just goes at it, and he's the guy's
Wow. So-
amazing. He's incredible.
So did he like rough pencil underlay at all?
Yeah,
or-
just very rough pencil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I only
Cool.
have one portrait.
Gorgeous.
I
That's
only have
nice.
One portrait
That's
that
cool.
somebody did of me, but it was Mobius.
Well,
Wow.
That's
Wow.
massive.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that was
Super
my
cool.
point. Is like I didn't know for years. I saw but I didn't care because I liked the inks. I thought the inks were fine, and so I didn't really care. And then it was even just like, wow, whoa, wait, Kim DeMolder's a dude.
Mhm.
And so. But this is one of the things I've always liked about comics is that it really doesn't matter. I don't know how I got off on that either. So
Work. It wasn't. You didn't know all of their background and their political
Right.
history and stuff like that back then. If you like the art, you like the art.
right.
It's become very politicized now, and I think that's sad because there's
It's
something.
because artists are trying to make money, aren't they? Because they don't get anything for creating all these characters. They've got to try and make their money by making themselves the star.
Yeah.
like a movie star.
Yeah.
Personality. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I when I was younger, I dabbled in writing, and I had a guy who was very friendly with some literary agents. He said, "Oh, look, when you're finished, send it to me because these guys, they're looking for the next J.K. Rowling. They're looking for the next big star they can just publicize
Yep.
and push as the big celebrity next big writer. They're not so much interested in, whether it's amazing or not. It's just whether they can get you first
Right.
and then push it. So
Yeah.
that's the way it's gone with social media. It's
Yeah. Yeah. I think
become a
so.
star. Become
And
famous, and then you can make money. Like all these all these internet people, they're famous for
Influencers.
I don't know what they do
For being on the internet.
Yeah, and then they
They're
make
called
money.
influencers, and
Influencers, yeah.
and it's a lot of the same for the musicians. They will choose radio stations. They'll choose who they're going to focus on, and they'll make a song popular just by playing it over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It's all decided beforehand.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I have never listened to popular radio, because I would listen to it. I'm like, I don't like any of that stuff, and stop telling me I need to like it. So I make my own choices for music, and generally no one else likes my choices, so that's okay.
But yeah, so RCA Records will come along and say, I like her look. She could
Yeah.
sound better, but we could tweak it in auto-tune.
Right.
We're going to push
Yeah.
this particular artist, and we're going to give her song out to all the radio stations and tell them to play it or else. And they do.
Yeah.
And then this person becomes a star because they've crafted her or him.
Yeah.
Well, it's
You know-
fascinating because. Oh, sorry.
No, go Curtis.
No, I was gonna say it was fascinating because when I was doing concept art for a movie in Hollywood, we would be working with producers and stuff, and one of them was this guy Mario Casar. Mario Casar is the guy that did like the original Terminator, actually did the Terminator films and all this kind of stuff. And the guy I was working with would get all these different actors and actresses involved, and he would want to go to Mario Casar, who was potentially going to be the producer, to kind of get funding. And Mario Casar would be like, I don't care. He goes, don't bring any celebrities by my house. He goes, and this guy lived, his neighbor was Hugh Hefner, and he was next to the Playboy Mansion. And he would say, I don't care about actors or actresses. I'm not impressed. He goes, all I need to know is who has the money and where the money's coming from. Because he was playing that game at that level where everybody else is a pawn. And he knew the game that actors and actresses are built up and they're not necessarily something that they bring to the table. It's something that you build up when the pieces are lined up. And it was a very different perspective than the average person that just is on, as a viewer or an audience member understands. Just like Barb's saying, it's a game. And how often have we seen certain artists or musicians when they leave their label, all of a sudden you never hear from them again? It could be the most amazing music artist, but as soon as they leave the record label, they don't have the videos, they don't have the press team, and they just kind of go away. It's kind of sad,
Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy stuff.
She'll breakout star in order to break the mold.
Yeah. Something that I've told before. I don't know if I've told it during our streams or not, but a lot of people ask me, hey, what was the big difference between Malibu and then Malibu after Marvel bought you? And I thought about that for a long time because for me, a lot of it remained unchanged. The day-to-day editing, there was promises of characters and that kind of stuff that didn't come through, but that didn't happen. But I really kind of summarize it up in one way is that when I was an editor at Malibu, if Curtis came to me with a project and said, hey, I want to do this project, and I'm like, cool, I really love this project, and I would take it to the powers that be, their question would be this. Their question would be, okay, can we make money? And if the answer was yes, then they would generally give it a green light. Okay, cool, we can make money off of that, right? Same exact scenario, but now Marvel's in charge, right? Curtis comes to me. I love the project. I go to I get it approved through the editorial board, and we move forward. The question became, how much money can we make?
Mm-hmm.
And it was no longer, well, if we can make money, let's do it. It became, if we can't make enough money, we're not going to do it because it won't be worth it. And, I know it seems like a little thing. It seems like a minor thing, but if you examine it, it's a huge thing. And so I always liked that.
Absolutely. It's interesting when you see things when it's all about the money, right? Which it is at the end of the day for a lot of businesses. And I don't want to put publicly the particular people, but some of the celebrities that were on the project that I was working on, some of them were very high up there. One of the actresses I was talking to her once, and she said, and she was already very successful, and she said she was having a hard time. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, I'm trying not to compromise my values. And I thought, oh, well, she's used to doing certain roles, and she may not want to take a role that doesn't suit her. So I was talking to the business partner, and he basically said, Kirsch, you are so naive. I said, what do you mean? And it had a lot to do with kind of like the whole Me Too thing going on. And this is somebody that's established. And he said, that's what she's talking about. She's talking about furthering her career by having to do something with somebody, if you guys catch my drift. And he goes, and that is the way the game is played. And he goes, Curtis, you have no idea. He goes, not just the women. He goes, the men. He goes, the men that you idolize on the screen, the top tier of the top tier Hollywood film stars. He goes, they stay in that position by doing things for people in certain places behind closed doors. And that's how they keep it. He goes, that's the way the game is. He goes, you idolize them and you see them as your heroes. And he goes, they're just pawns on the chessboard. And he goes, the sooner you realize that, the sooner you understand the business. And it's heartbreaking to hear that because we love the characters these people portray. And so, show business in general is a filthy place and a rough place. And unfortunately the art, and it's the for us, it's about the art. And for the people that get involved, it's about the art. But the people who make the money, they're about making the money. And that's just the way the game is. And so it's, that's why it's so important, to maintain your integrity because the game ends at some point for everybody,
Right.
So it's tough. And that's why I like independent stuff. Independent.
That's right. Yeah.
Less headache.
That's right. Yep.
I was accused several times of sleeping with editors to get work. I never did.
You were
But
accused?
oh yeah,
Wow.
That
yeah,
seems to be the go-to position for men that are
I had more
I
integrity
don't
than
know.
that.
They just accused the woman of that's the only way she could have got the job. That's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
you-
that
well,
still happens,
you
doesn't
gotta
it? Let's be honest.
you gotta
Yeah,
understand
it
too
does.
how many women inkers were back there in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, there was
Yeah.
two or three. I mean that were working full time as inkers, and well, there aren't any women inkers or doing it full time in for the majors. Yeah, there was actually two or three around the same time. I was the first, and then right after me there was a couple others, and I was always accused, well, that you must have been sleeping with an editor. I'm like, no, 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 I was not.
Well, what a low blow, and it's like so that you could get
Really?
an inking job, like really, like
Yeah,
that's
right.
the
Yeah. Wow.
you know, for an inking job. Wow, you know,
I'm not
that's
that desperate. Yeah.
yeah, wow, insane, insane.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, you know, Barb. Actually, I'm racking my brain. I can think of several women writers and editors and pencilers, but I'm having a hard time coming up with any other women inkers.
Back then, well, there were women inkers. I mean, Marie Severin inked, but
Oh, of course, Marie Severin. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but working full time for the big two for like long stretches of time on series, there wasn't.
Yeah.
There were fill-in inkers. You know, an occasional woman would do fill-in inks, but not doing. I made a regular living at it. I did what 2 books a month for 12 years, something like
Yeah.
that.
Well, again, this is something that you know we talked about multiple times. This is one of the reasons I liked Malibu.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, is because
They never,
we
they
didn't
never
care.
considered gender. No.
You could ink, so I didn't care. You know,
No.
actually, to be honest with you, is my wife listening? You know, it would have been a plus in my book. Really, you got boobs? Cool. Let's ink, right?
My God.
You see how Marvel built their empire. You see back in the day.
At least you know how they really hang.
Well,
you know.
well, if that's just the criteria, there's a lot of out of shape comic book artists who also have boobs. If it's any consultation,
Well,
anyway,
that's why I hired Mark Barr. Oh, I'm just kidding.
So NFTs, right? That's what.
Yeah.
Somebody just turned in NFTs. Let's see what they're talking about.
Right, yeah.
I don't think they know the meaning of the word.
Yeah, I do think it's a shame that there are still folks out there that will make decisions like that. Oh, well, it's a female, so she obviously doesn't know how to ink a comic book or whatever. I just think it's a shame.
Well,
I've
told this story several times, and I've told it on here too. But I had an editorial review at DC, and I'm not going to tell you who the editor was. But he looked through my portfolio and he put it down. He goes, "Wow, this is really impressive. I really like this. You ink like a man."
What?
Oh boy.
Really?
That's, you know,
Like, what does that even
Really?
mean?
I don't know. I never did.
You know,
I just don't see how that.
do your
factor
lines
in.
have little biceps on them? You know.
I think they were. I think they were bold lines. You know, I had a feeling that he was under the impression that a woman would ink very delicately, you know, fine lines. But now there's a lot of guys that ink very delicately with.
Yes,
fine
there
lines,
are.
let's say so.
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes you need a bold line, sometimes you need a delicate line.
That's right.
That's why a good inker can know the difference.
I never figured it out, but I just thought it was hilarious. I'm like, okay. I don't care if you're gonna hire me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking at the clock here. We're getting close to the end. Anybody got anything else on NFTs?
Oh, I don't know what they are, Roland, to be honest.
I'm looking forward to them. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
I'm very, very ambivalent about this. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, and I'm going to have to cogitate on that for a while.
Yeah, I think that's kind
my
of
my thinking is let's wait and see. Let's see
yeah,
what happens, because I mean, it may end up that we all have to be really doing some real study on this. I guess it's going to take seeing what happens to it to see how much we really have to dive into this, or we miss out on something.
yeah,
And that's a really really good point, because and here's why I think that. It's like I took some time off from comics. When I left comics, everything was still physical. Everything was done um, on real paper, and it was phone, fax, and FedEx. It was FedExed in to the um, publisher. When I
right,
came back, everything was. I mean, a lot of things were being digital, and there were very few physical artwork. It would come in an email. It would come in a file. You would download it, print it out on blue lines, ink it either physically or digitally, and scan it back into the computer and send it in. There was no mail anymore, and I was in shock. And I'm like,
yeah,
what has happened? I don't think I can do this, but
I'm
I
just
did.
thinking, like,
I taught myself, and I did it well. But it was a huge leap forward in the
yeah,
comics industry
yeah,
when we went to doing all of this stuff digitally and sending it in files on the internet. You know, and it was a culture shock. I had to
Kind of
yeah,
really
relearn.
sounds like me and screen printing. I went away
It's
from
tough. Yeah.
screen printing for about 7 years. The whole business changed. I mean, I couldn't believe they wanted me. The company I work for now, it's crazy.
yeah,
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 they
But
have
I
to
had a
catch.
lot of knowledge that a lot of these people didn't have. As far as like all the way to the press, and
So
that
you either
helped.
catch up,
But it was just
you
like
either
that.
catch up or fall
I
behind.
had to.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We
I
get
think the whole thing with it. Oh, sorry.
no.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Curtis.
No, I just think the whole thing with it is it's like anything, right? It's like the Wild West right now. It hasn't been put through the corporate mill yet. So
Right.
there's a lot of potential. And I think if in this, what was the thing before that would prevent, somebody from striking out on their own is you need a middleman. You need a middleman to print something, you need a middleman to distribute it, you know? And as the industry goes through its current kind of state of flux, I feel like it's so much more farm to mouth, farm to table right now with creatives. And so if it's something that can get the money directly into creatives' hands without having to deal with any corporate structure and help
Mhm.
people, live a prosperous life and maybe into their later years or have a career, I'm all for it. I think that's great. Inevitably, I'm sure the corporations will get a stranglehold on it. So I feel like now's the time to strike, probably. But
And of
but I
course,
think it
there'll
could
be
be
those that learn how to game it. Learn how to game the
yeah,
whole system. So there's
yeah,
going to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I
absolutely.
think yeah, and I think too, you if you look at kind of entertainment in general, um, if you just look back, there were the companies that were in control of everything, and so that there were fewer done. Right. If you look back, let's just say, when I was a kid in the 1970s, you had Marvel, DC, you had Archie, probably some others that I'm not thinking of right off the top of my head. But, there weren't that many when you put it in the whole in perspective. So the number of people who could get those jobs were very limited. And yeah, you had some underground comics, but they, again, not that many. Bless you, Pete.
It's me. Thank you.
Today, not only do you have those corporations, but you've got hundreds of independent comics, and there's so many people making them. So much like I think the makers have done, we have to find the outlets for them, and I think this is part of what comic shops and the distributors are going to have to figure out, is that it's not just Marvel and DC anymore, right? They were the two top dogs, and if you didn't have Marvel and DC books, your store was going to hurt. Well, as we know just from looking at sales, Marvel and DC have been selling at an all-time historical low, lower than they have ever sold in the history of either company. But there's a bazillion independent comics out there, right? So how do you get those comics into the hands of the readers? And this is what independent, I think, this is my belief anyway. This is what independent comics are doing today. Is they are aggressively seeking out alternative paths to the reader. Conventions has always been one path, right? You go to a convention, fans come to see you. Diamond is kind of notorious for shutting out the independent. They've been the only one on the block for a long time, so they were kind of notorious for shutting out the independents because they didn't need them, because Marvel and DC moved hundreds of thousands of copies, and they didn't need your little 10,000 copy, if maybe 10,000, 5,000 copy independent, right? They didn't need that. So, but I think we're in a day and age where they need that now. If they're going to, and the stores need that now if they're going to survive. But unfortunately, I think way too many stores are unwilling to try out the independent comics.
Thing is that there are so many independent comics now. How do we make ours stand out amongst the flock?
Right. Yeah.
That's the question. That's the
Yep.
big question, right?
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing is just how the playing field's getting leveled, and I think how many us as creatives, and I can speak for myself, the interest is in the creative process, right? And sometimes the finance or the business side, it gets put on the back burner. And so for decades, people have given the power to the people who are interested in that, so that I can just go and do my creative stuff. You handle the money. Well, when that happens, it's like that saying, if you don't care about money, money doesn't care about you,
Right. Yeah.
So I think, with stuff like NFT and, the whole digital era and all that stuff, it's like, there's the potential for the power to go back to the creatives if they're interested in taking the time.
Right.
That's the big question. So
yeah. Well, that's why I'm glad, like Wubba and Tim and John Crowther. I'm glad that they are, pioneers in that, so that they can, say, hey, Roland, this is kind of how this is done, and maybe you should consider doing this right here. Because, to echo what Pete said earlier, I really don't know that much about it. I kind of get. Yeah, I mean, I kind of get what it is, but I don't understand how did Jose Delbo make $1 million? It's selling a token that you can't touch, and I don't know, but I'm glad he did it because it's Jose Delbo, and
Roland's selling his subway token. This thing's worth millions. Leave me. It's a token. That guy sold it for millions. It should be just the same, right?
Yeah. Dempsey Blackman says, great stream as always. Thank you, Dempsey. Yeah, so I don't know, any final thoughts on that? We kind of worked that up as much as we could, huh?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We have
our vast knowledge about it.
Yeah, we have witnessed a cold smack Pete in the face, and just boom!
Yeah,
now he's got it.
Got me now.
The art's looking great, Quentin. Looking excellent.
Yeah.
Very solid.
Last week I was only able to show a screen, but I'm just going to go through them real quick, seeing as how we're wrapping.
Nice.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, I sent these to you, by the way, Pete.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. What am I looking at? Oh, yeah.
Very solid.
It was very good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and so what are we looking at here, Quentin?
We are looking at Trump's issue 3, and this is page 4.
Yep. I love the way those clubs back there on the banners.
Yeah. Love the architecture and everything. It's just so solid.
Mm.
A hint of a Kirby twist in there, do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
It's great. It reads so well in black and white that I know when the color goes on it, it's just going to make it even better. But it just reads great in black and white.
Yeah. Yeah. Although we may have to get Quentin's interpretations in an extra for this. He's been writing some dialogue for some of these panels that we may have to include in the extras.
Nice.
It's not dialogue that's in the book, but Quentin's been adding some dialogue. Yeah.
A few choice
Uh,
words.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that forearm up there on that first panel. I love how you everything twisting. That's awesome.
I like the fingers breaking the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
You ever catch yourself trying to scroll on the page when you're
Yeah.
watching something?
oh yeah.
I was sitting here looking at it and trying to scroll down. Oh wait, I can't do that. That's his screen.
Yeah, this is the one that I posted like right here. It's like yeah, I don't want to say what I put on there. It'll come out in the special edition. The bloopers at the end.
the outtake.
Reel. It'll come out in the gag reel.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so team, what you guys think about jumping to Discord here?
I could
Okay,
actually get
now-
used to it.
What's that, Pete?
We're getting there. We're getting with it.
Yeah.
We're catching up, sort of.
Aaron?
Yeah, just get used to it. Once I figure out the path of how to get where I'm going,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I
Um,
need to download the app for my laptop because it was kicking me out right and left. But once I went to the iPad, it worked.
Yeah. Curtis, you good with it?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think a little bit of a learning curve, but I think we're already getting it. So I think it works fine. I think it totally works fine.
I know it's funny.
Yeah.
The only person who's been kicked off this whole stream is Roland, so I think all of us have been getting it.
Yeah.
I've been kicked off because my Discord keeps crashing, and I don't know why I was crashing. So, and the funny thing about it is when I started back up, it threw me right back in the room, and I didn't, of course, I know a couple times y'all heard me come on, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I know.
I wasn't meaning to do that, but it was like, I couldn't figure out what was going on. It's like, why is it crashing?
Are you on your new laptop?
I am on my new computer. Yes, it's not a laptop though.
Nice.
Yes,
You
yeah.
got a tower.
Ah.
This right here is borrowed from Brett. So I don't have an actual webcam yet, but yes, I am on the new computer, and I must say it is gorgeous. as far as computers go, and I don't mean the tower. I mean that just it is very, very nice, and so I would give you all another great big hug if I could.
I'm just thinking Roland's in the other room. When do they add color to the computers? Look at all these colors.
It has been. I have had to. There has been, and still is, a little bit of a new computer. What's the word? Kind of the honeymoon, because everything's brand new. As even the Windows is 10 point whatever it is, and so I don't know where things are, and I'm having to figure out how some of the software is working with this, and my Discord, my Dropbox
It's a
doesn't work
big
the
upgrade
same
from
way.
'98.
Yeah, it wasn't quite 98, but yeah. So the Dropbox doesn't work quite the same way as it did on my other computer, but other than that, yeah, it's working fantastic. So I've got to get used to the keyboard because it feels funny on my fingers. I haven't gotten used to that part yet. So and that's the old keyboard right there. Actually, that's the old tower right there.
Oh, there you go.
So but yeah, no, it's I'm liking it. I'm liking it quite a bit. Yeah, it's fast. It's good. So thank y'all. Yeah. Tommy says, great job, Quentin, looking good. And then he says, nice shirt, Roland. Well, thank you, Tommy. Flying the Kablam colors. Woot, woot.
Captain Kablam.
That's right.
I would
There you
too
go.
if they sent me a T-shirt.
You know what? I'll have to, Tommy, if you're still listening, we may have to do that. Barb, send me your size. I'll see what I can do. They're local to me, so I can run down and say this is a Barb fist.
Oh, a knife. You got to take a knife.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Put it to their throat.
Quentin, you know what that's from, right?
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
remember the stream.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I didn't see her quite the same after that stream.
Yeah, you notice Pete doesn't turn his back on the stream now, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's wrap it up. We have something slated for this week, but we may do a shift in gears as I've talked to someone who may be a guest on Wednesday stream, and if that happens, we'll try to get a guest on Sunday stream too. You guys, I can't really say because they haven't confirmed. They'll confirm tomorrow. So we may do guest this week, and yeah. So if that's the case, I will try to get us for someone for Sunday. But the guy that I'm working on to be for Wednesday. And the only hint I'll give you is he knows John Medic. So yeah, those people are like, I gotta go be a detective now. Who's John Medic know? All right, well, let's wrap this up. Kickstarter folks. Kickstarter folks. The twos. Friarlight Grim, huh?
yeah, that's good. It's a crossover.
That's my new book, Friarlight Grim. Twilight Grim 2 and Friar Rush 2 are both off to the printer. So probably still got another 10 days before we get those back from Kablam. Hopefully, because Tommy's listening, they can bump that up the queue a little bit, but they are just getting them. So all the files are there, all the books are there, everything is in good shape. I've already made the request for one of them to be on Indie Planet, so hopefully that'll happen about the same time. I got to get in there and do the other one. So that's kind of the update for that. And our next Kickstarter will be, if you've been watching the Silverline page at all, you have seen how excited Scott Wakefield is. Because the next Kickstarter will be Steam Patriots #1 with Divinity #2. So
Nice.
yep, and as always, both books are done. Yeah, look at that. That's right. Yep. They're there's a few little things we gotta get here and there to kind of put all the pieces, but the books are done. So we just gotta make it happen. So looking forward to some excitement. I know that Scott is just all giddy. For those of you listening to the Wednesday stream, Scott is all giddy about seeing Steam Patriots come to life, as he should be, and as you should be as well, because it's looking good, and I think you're really gonna like it, as well as Divinity #2. So you'll hear more about in the coming days. Don't forget to tune in on Wednesday when the Whammers are back. Again, I'm not really sure what they're going to do this Wednesday, but we'll know more tomorrow. And we'll probably promote that once we find out, particularly if we do get the guests. So, all right, let's go around and shoot. I meant to put the new thing into play, but okay. Barb, tell folks where they can find you on the interwebs.
Barb Kaelberg, Kaalberg. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, and Facebook.
Nice. And Roberta just chimed in the Facebook messages. She says, "Hello, everyone. Great drawing tonight." Hello, Roberta. We missed you. Hopefully we'll see Roberta again next week. Aaron, tell people where they can find you. And your
Facebook
cat.
And my cat. They can find Bailey. Yes. You want down already? See, you made him leave. No, he leaves all
right.
the time.
What do you expect out of a cat?
Yeah, I know. Aaron Humphreys on Facebook, and then Humphreys Illustration. Instagram at ALH3810 is my handle. Webtoons, I'll be updating another episode of my Goblins tomorrow. And then, that's where you can find me.
Sounds good. Quentin's looking his up as we speak. He's like, I'm not sure where I am. Curtis, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Sure.
I'm
before
on
they
Facebook. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. Go for it, Quentin.
I'm on Facebook as myself, Quentin Bedwell. Also on Instagram as myself, Quentin Bedwell. On Deviant as QJB. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Pete, what about you? Where can folks find you on the
They can
interweb?
find me on the internet. You can find me at Peter Clinton Art. And just type it into Google. Yeah.
And do you have that domain yet?
Oh, just a penciler.com?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Dude,
Come
I'm
on.
sorry.
dude.
If someone wishes to pay for it for me, then certainly.
I may have to go look at GoDaddy, see what it's gonna run. Curtis, what about you, Seafood?
If I can give a quick shout out,
Please do.
Dante, our intern, is doing awesome stuff with the social media. So if you haven't, check out our social media because he's got some really cool stuff going on daily.
Dante, you guys, Dante did the show with me yesterday. He did the show with me yesterday. He drove up, and dude, Dante, if you're listening, Dante is a rock star. So also pay attention to when I tell you where I'm going to be because there's a little Dante nugget there. So, all right, yeah, all right, Curtis.
And then also, if you haven't noticed this evening, I've been drinking my beverage in this amazing Silverline mug.
Wow,
that is a gorgeous mug.
So don't forget to check out Silverline's Zazzle page, which will be in the links. They got some cool stuff. And then now me, you can find me on Facebook, Curtis Fujita. You can find me through my martial arts school. You can find that Tiger Crane 805 on Instagram and YouTube. Tiger Crane Kung Fu on Facebook, and then for my comic book, Shadow Ghost Comic, Instagram and Facebook. So you can check me out there. That's where I am.
Excellent. And for those of you who noticed on the YouTube channel, is that we had some really nice thumbnails a month or so ago, right? Now that Curtis is back, I'm hoping to see a return of more thumbnails. That's my hope. And since Curtis is listening, I'm yeah. You know, that's a very Asian thing you just did, Curtis.
Yeah, you point at the nose. You
pointed the nose. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you count backwards, like 1, 2.
Yeah.
3. Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. But it surprised me to see you do that. I used to see my students do that. Because I used to teach the ESL to Japanese, and Americans point here, right? Pete, when you talk about yourself, where do you point?
This guy.
You point to your head. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Where'd you point?
Right here. You point here, right?
Boom.
I
guess they're all pointing toward my head.
Do this guy. Okay. But Asians point to their nose.
Nose, yeah.
Yeah. So I saw Curtis do. I'm sorry, I really distracted our goodbyes here, but I saw Curtis do this, and I'm like, "Wait, Curtis, what are you doing?" I know your name is Fujita, but I've never seen that.
Well, and on that note, I was going to tell you off air, but starting next week, I'll try and start getting back to that.
Okay.
Just kind of getting my footing over here, but more great thumbnails coming from me. So
yes, and there's a whole lot of them waiting for thumbnails.
Yeah, fair enough.
So also on that note. Don't forget, we've got we are turning these things. The unpaid producer, who you can now see on the screen, although I need to let him know that he can hide that, has worked hard to turn our streams into podcast. And so you can hear the first 3 have dropped already, and they're already getting listens, which is kind of cool. The 4th one is going to drop on Tuesday. So and why Tuesday? Tuesdays because everything I found said Tuesday was the best day to drop podcast, and so it drops at like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. I forget exactly what time, but I did it because that's when all the algorithms told me to do it. So okay, but yeah, we are turning these. So we're starting with the ones last year. So for those of you who tune in occasionally and say, "Yeah, I can't watch you guys. I need to listen to you," right? So. You can now tune into you can find podcasts all over the place. We're going to get with Dante and let him kind of promote some of those, but you can find them on iTunes and Spotify, anywhere that you can find cool podcasts. You'll be able to find the Silverline Comics podcast. So look for that there. And I am Roland Man, and you can find me at Roland Man most places. I think Man Roland on Twitter. Look for this face roughly caricatured. I think most of them don't have the glasses. I do have a version with the glasses, but most of them don't have the glasses, but it looks just like me. And unfortunately, I wore my band and left it to the show yesterday, and I left it in my bedroom when I took it off, so I don't have my Make Mine Silverline band. But you guys know what to do. End of the show.
We make.
That's
Oh.
right.
Oh.
Make Mine
Make Mine
Silverline.
Silverline.
Good night, everybody.
See ya.